Do you have debt you can't pay off? You feel like you're constantly just working to pay off your debt and it's never going to end? Well, this episode is for you. We're going to talk about how to pay off your debt in 5 to 7 years, including your mortgage, without increasing your income and living a debt-free revolution. Well, hello there. My name is Melanie Greeno, and I'm a broke, homeless, single mom turned 7-figure online CEO who is obsessed with helping people break free and create empires online. My mission is to show you how to transform your business, brand, and bank account into one that you love by becoming the CEO of your life and business, and of course, to master all things business, marketing, automation, and mindset. I will warn you though, I do have a tendency to go on a rant or two, usually when it comes to creating freedom and the obligation we have to becoming better humans. If you are an ambitious entrepreneur, coach, consultant, and or marketer, or one in the making who is looking to create an impact and wants to fast track your success, then you can think of this as your one-stop shop for mentorship and coaching mixed with business and marketing CEO school. Show up and take notes so that you can accelerate your success and increase your profits with ease. This is the Creating Empires Online podcast. Let's dive in. Hey, welcome to one of my favorite topics, how to live debt-free. How do you go from drowning in debt, feeling all this pressure and stress? Maybe creditors calling you. Maybe you really don't know how you're ever going to survive, and there's just not enough money at the end of the month. Well, we're going to talk about that in this episode and give you a plan that you can implement starting today. First of all, let's talk about how we got into debt in the first place. I think this isn't talked about enough. You know, we put debt repayment plans in place. And of course, you can get a consolidation loan and you can do, even people go as far as bankruptcy. You've got creditors phoning you. All this is going on. But we never really stop and back up the truck and ask ourselves, how did we get here in the first place? Like, how did we get into debt in a way that is causing us this much pressure? And I feel like the answer is it's not actually your fault. Now, if you guys have been around for any amount of time, you know that I believe 100% accountability is the only way to live life. So how can I believe that and say, I don't think it's your fault? Well, the reason I can say that is I believe that we're trained in a consumer society. I believe that at a very young age, we are taught to consume. If you're my age, of course, you got the Sears catalog at Christmas. And you were taught to go through, pick out your gifts, put them on a list, and a magical Santa Claus was going to bring them. There was no skin in the game for you. You just had to say what you wanted, and they were going to appear, and it would be wonderful, and you were shopping in a catalog. And then, of course, now at 18 years old, you can get a credit card without even asking. They'll just send you one. And you know, we really are not taught about money in school at all. I mean, they say they do, but do they really? I mean, I didn't know how to balance a checkbook, make a budget. I didn't know how to run a household. I didn't know how to stay out of debt. I thought that getting a mortgage to buy a house that you couldn't afford was normal. I thought getting a car loan to get a car when I was 16 was normal, right? Like, you know, these are all things that were normal. But the reality is it doesn't have to be like that. That is a consumer mindset. And so if we move away from being a consumer into being a producer, things start to change. Now, we don't have a lot of time, so I'm going to do this really quickly. But if you think about this, if you wanted a car and you had to save the money to get the car, how much more would you value that car when you bought it? And how much harder would you think about what car you were buying before you bought it? I think that this is a big thing when it comes to production, because I would then have to go produce a result to get the money to buy the thing. Also, when you're thinking about a house or, investing, one of the things that Greg and I decided to do was not live in our primary residency, not be a home that we owned, because at that time, the tax advantages were massive. It made a lot of sense. And being able to have properties that were cash flowing made more sense than having a property that, meaning cash flowing, like you're renting them out and they're paying for themselves, made more sense than living in a primary residency where it was costing us money. So we switched our mindset from being consumers, because understand, when Greg and I met, we had $500,000 in debt. between a mortgage, cars, consumer debt, student loans, etc. And we had to figure out how to pay that off. Now, thank God we had a mentor that showed us exactly how to do that. And that's what we teach now inside of the Financial Fitness Academy, is how you can pay off your debt and become completely debt-free, including your mortgage, cars, student loans, etc., in 5 to 7 years without even increasing your income. That's like just from where you are now. Now, I know that you guys might think that that's crazy. How's that possible? But I promise you it is. So if we switch our mindset, which is the first step, away from being a consumer into being a producer, then we realize that money goes from dumb to smart, right? What I would mean by that? Well, consumers aren't thinking, we call it dumb money. They're not thinking about where they're putting their money. They're giving it to somebody else to put in their pocket. Producers are figuring out how to add value and actually add, impact into the world. And for that, they get paid for it and the money goes in their pockets. So you want to switch away from being a consumer and into becoming a producer, which is smart money. Now, the number 2 thing that you can do is do a bank audit. Actually pull out your bank statements for the last 90 days and highlight all of your spending. So for example, you might do all of your income in green, your food in yellow, your car expenses in orange, and just start to highlight where you're spending your money. And of course, make a list of debts so that you know exactly where you're starting from. This is an incredibly freeing exercise because you start to realize how much money you're wasting, right? How much money you're actually wasting literally on a weekly basis. And you can start to carve back on your spending or curve it. So for example, I might realize that I spent, $20 or $30 at Starbucks for the week, and that was an unnecessary expenditure when I could really make coffee at home for $5 for the week. Now, don't get me wrong, I love Starbucks, but do I love it to the tune of $80 or $100 a month? Or some of you, if you're doing a $7 latte, like even 20 days a month, that's $140 just on that. So that's money that can then be compounded into your debt. So doing that bank audit is super, super powerful. It's really a way for you to say, okay, where's the fat in my budget? How can I curve that, and carve out that fat and start applying that fat to my debt and start to really compound down my payments and compound down my debt so that, it's not hanging over your head the entire time. So as you do this, we recommend doing a once a week bank audit, a once a month bank audit, a once a week financial meeting so that you know exactly where you are, what you've been spending, and course correct, because it's he that course corrects the fastest, or she that course corrects the fastest, that's going to get the best results. Now, the other thing that I would highly recommend you do is start to tuck away a percentage of your income every single month. Even if you feel like all you can do is 5% a month, right? That's all you can do. It's creating the habit of saving. You want to create the habit of saving. You want to go from being a consumer to being a producer, going from a spender to being a saver. Now, don't get me wrong, you'll still be able to have fun and spend money, but this little tweak can help you learn to put money back. And of course, finally, you need to learn how to compound your money. Now, that's a whole nother topic for a whole nother day. Greg and I actually are working with an academy that teaches people how they can learn to trade cryptocurrency, foreign exchange, etc., because we believe that everyone should learn how to compound their money. Now, we're not financial advisors and we're not going to tell you what to do or any of that. We just know that there's 3 steps to creating true wealth. And that is learn how to make the money, learn how to keep the money, and of course, number 3, learn how to make that money grow. So I hope that helps. I would love to hear your comments. I would love to know your fat number. Do your bank audit. How much fat do you have? And how much you're going to be able to apply to your debt. I would love, love, love to hear your feedback if you're going to go from consumer to actual producer, from spender to saver. Our goal is transformation, and we want for you to have everything that you came here to get. We want for you to have a business, brand, and bank account that you love. Go ahead, check the notes. I'll put a little instructions on how to do a bank audit so that you guys can grab those in the show notes below. And we'll see you in the next episode.